Everyone talks about balance like it's something you achieve. Like one day you wake up and suddenly life feels even. But for a long time, balance felt like something I was constantly failing at. I was trying to be a good student, a good wife, a good mom, show up for work, take care of my body, and somehow do all of it well all the time. And the truth is, that version of balance just doesn't exist. What changed everything for me wasn't learning how to do more, it was learning how to choose intentionally. So today, I want to talk about choosing intention over balance, especially in a season where life is full, plans are changing, and time feels so limited. Hi, welcome back to the podcast. This is still here, Unfiltered. My name is Cynthia, and I'm going to be hosting solo this week because Casey is out with a little cold, and then she has an exam later this week, and her sister's getting married this weekend. So I am going to be hosting solo. I totally forgot to film an intro, and I'm totally in my pajamas, but here we are, and I hope you guys enjoy the podcast. Balance feels like a lot of pressure. Seeing these videos of like, get ready with me, start the day with me, and these people are rolling out of their beds with the perfect hair, the perfect, face, and they just have like this beautiful morning. And I just feel like that's not realistic for people, especially moms. I feel like I never know how my day is gonna start. I work nights, so I never know what I'm gonna come home to. And I just feel like it's a lot of pressure that's being put on people. I feel like we need to normalize just doing our best sometimes. Some days that's what that looks like. And I think over time I realized that, it's not about trying to be perfect every day. It's more about just showing up, doing it anyways, and getting yourself through the day. And whether that is going to the gym. Not every day I don't go to the gym every day. The days I do go to the gym, not every gym day I'm like excited about going. But the hardest part is showing up. And it's pushing myself through it. And I always feel better after I do it. And, if it's not a gym day, just being at home and just getting through the day, that's enough sometimes. It's enough. And I feel like being intentional and making like a to-do list and prioritizing them and making sure that I'm taking care of myself, making sure my little family is taken care of, making sure all my aspirations are taken care of, that's enough. And I feel like we need to normalize that some more. I think we should redefine balance and what balance looks like. And it's different. Not only is it different for everybody, it's different every day. Every morning, I think ideally I would get up at 6 a.m. Does it happen? No. Sometimes I wake up at 5 a.m. because my toddler is screaming because she had a bad diaper, or she had a nightmare, or whatever happened, or she just wants to cuddle. And it's just so different every morning. Some mornings I have class. Some mornings I get off of work. When I work nights, I get off at 7:30. There's some mornings I'm not coming home until 8 a.m. And then I'm jumping in bed and going to sleep. And then I'm backwards for like 3 days. As some mornings after I drop her off at daycare, I'm going to the gym. Every morning looks different. And it's how you balance every day. And I think it's how you do things intentionally. You may want to go to the gym because going to the gym feels better, like makes you feel better. And that's definitely my reason for going to the gym. But if I'm being honest, I'm not excited every time I get in the car and drive to the gym. But I know the hardest part about doing that is getting to the gym. And then once I'm at the gym, I feel a little motivated to keep going. But it's choosing to be intentional with that. It's setting aside the time, so I can go to the gym, Same thing with school. It's setting aside the time so I can handle whatever assignments I have. I can join my lectures on time. I can review on time. I can take my tests with enough time. And it's just being intentional. And I think if we were to redefine what balance looked like, and we stop putting so much pressure on ourselves, I think we would feel better as moms and as students and as wives, to stop trying to achieve perfection. It just doesn't exist. It doesn't. I feel like having a toddler, some of my days look perfect and everything goes well. And then some of my days just look like I'm just trying to survive. And for anyone who has raised a toddler, I know you guys can and will understand. Every day looks different. Every day with them. And my time isn't my time, I have to take care of a little person that needs me and needs all of me. And, in a lot of ways, we lose ourselves in those moments. And that's why I think it's also important to do things intentionally, because all day we're spent taking care of this beautiful, beautiful child or children. And we get lost in it and we forget ourselves. And I think if we were intentional and we were to set aside time for us to take care of ourselves and to do something really quick for ourselves, it's really, it would be really beneficial for our mental health, for our well-being, for everything. Being intentional with our time plays a big part in our mental health. Because if you're just going and trying to survive, you're going to burn out. It's not going to be a pretty ending there. As much as I hate to admit it and to talk about it, there are times where school and work do occupy most of my time. And I don't get to spend as much time with my baby as I would like. And I have to coordinate with my husband, and I don't get to see her. I carry so much mom guilt during that time. And I think sometimes I wish I would have done things differently. Maybe I should have waited when I was older, or I don't know. I don't know what the right thing would have been. Maybe that is the right thing, or this is just what, was planned for me. But I do feel very guilty setting aside time to study, doing homework, or taking tests and not being in the same room as her. And I think that's why I have to be so intentional. And I think this is where I've learned it, because I felt so guilty for not spending time with her. Going to the gym at certain hours, going anywhere at a certain hour, whether it's a Target run. Target runs are so much fun with her. She gets her little croissant. I get my coffee. She has her apple juice. We just go around the store. I mean, it's not a pretty bill at the end, but whatever. Life is short. But I feel like, being so busy and having so much on my plate, I have to be intentional. And being more intentional and making a to-do list and prioritizing, the things on that list has really helped me actually feel like I have more time. It's the same amount of time. Time hasn't changed. I have the same amount of hours every day. I have the same amount of hours every week. It's just how I am setting aside, certain hours to do certain things. I'm, figuring out, okay, well, I can do this after she goes to bed, so that way the next day I can just hang out with her. And it's just doing things like that really have helped. Being intentional has really made me feel like I have more time. And, even when it comes to my marriage, I set aside time for us, and he's very good at planning dates and setting up childcare. And we both help out each other because we both want to spend time with each other. There are nights where we just watch our shows and hang out after she goes to bed and just have a little like us time. And setting aside that time instead of, I don't know, doing social media stuff, doing his work, like we're just, devices down, focusing on each other. And it's really helped, our marriage. And it's really helped me balance work and school by choosing to set aside certain hours and being intentional. My relationship with the gym has changed a lot. I used to be the person to go to the gym at like 4 a.m., 5 a.m., somewhere around there. And I would work out, and then I would go home, I would take a shower, and I'd be ready to go for work. And I did that all before work because it made me feel good. Going to the gym is like therapeutic for me. And I can't do that anymore. There's no like going to the gym at 5 a.m. right now. We have to get up. Jack has to work. She has to get ready to go to daycare. I have school. It's changed a lot. If I don't have to go to school that day, I usually go to the gym after daycare, or I wait until my husband gets off of work and then I go to the gym with him, and then we'll pick her up from daycare. It's just a matter of figuring out what time, what like hour and a half or so are we going to set aside to go to the gym, because it's only like an hour and a half. I have 168 hours in a week. I can set aside, what would it be if you go to the gym 3 times a week, 3 hours, 4.5 hours out of 168 hours. It makes you think like, oh, yeah, I can do that. That's achievable. That's attainable. If I set aside 4.5 hours a week out of 168 hours, and it doesn't feel like that much pressure anymore. It kind of takes it off of like, oh, I can totally do that. That's achievable. It's not unrealistic. And, planning out weekly, my 168 hours has really helped me. From school to daycare, through stuff with the family, and not even, the 3 of us. I'm talking about aunts, Jack's mom, my sister, like all of those guys too. You can still find a balance in everything. You can still find a balance if you intentionally plan out every hour that week, your 168 hours. And it makes it takes off the pressure. It makes it like you just feel better knowing that you have stuff planned. So listen, I know I kind of touched the surface about it, but something that did happen, and I'm just in denial of what's going to happen. But I recently changed my degree plan, or my education plan, or however you want to say it. Maybe degree plan. I recently changed my degree plan. I was originally a pre-med student. And now with the Trump administration, they have this section in this bill. It's called the Big Beautiful Bill. It's going into effect on July 1st. And one of the things that is a major blow to me that is in that bill is they are capping medical school loans. And not only medical, they're capping all of the student loans, but the one that pertains to me is medical. And they're capping medical school loans at $200,000. And without that funding being there, I won't be able to go. And I've had to change my whole plan. I've had to almost grieve, what could have been. And I had a meeting with a nursing school that is local to me, and there's only a few prereqs that I need to get done. And then I can apply for their nursing program. And I'm really upset. I think right now I'm like fighting back tears a little bit. I'm really upset. I don't know if upset is even the word. I am almost speechless, about this administration doing something like that. And I don't want to get too political, but it's really disappointing to see this happen. And I feel like I'm in a state of denial, and I'm just waiting to see what happens on July 1st. But right now, that is the situation. And I know I could finish nursing school and continue my education and get my doctorates in nursing and possibly work as an NP. It's not what I wanted, but it is maybe something I'll have to do. And I will just see what happens, with student loans. And I'm still trying to be hopeful about it. But that's where we're at right now in regards to that. So I'm trying to plan for future me and the future for my family and having stability. And, the nursing program will take about 2 years. And after that is done, then I will be able to work as a nurse and still go to school, because it would be very similar to what I'm doing right now, just working 3 days a week at the hospital. It would just be 3 days a week as a nurse. So I could still continue pursuing my education, like I said, and maybe earn my doctorates at some point and work as an NP. But I'm really upset. It's taken a toll on my well-being, and hopefully, I don't know, it'll change. I hope it does. I think it's also affecting lawyers. I think it's affecting dentists. I think it's affecting any graduate level program, if I'm not mistaken. And there's even a cap on undergrad loans. And one of my little kitty cats just popped out. If you want to hear. Oscar, you have something to say? Oh, wow. Very good. I think they're scared of educated individuals. I think we intimidate them. And it's really upsetting to see them try to stop us. And I'm not going to stop. I will just reset, restart, and figure it out. I've survived in a lot of rough situations, and I will survive through this. And the hospital will pay for most of my nursing school, and they will pay up to my master's degree. And that's the way we'll get this done. We're not going to stop. We're going to get this done. Whatever it takes, we're going to get it done. So when people ask me how I balance everything, the truth is I don't. I choose intentionally. I make a choice about my time, my 168 hours a week. I make those choices, and I choose to prioritize things. I choose to just handle things accordingly and get everything done in a timely manner. And you have to also give yourself permission to adjust. Things change. People react differently than you expected. Plans change. Weather ruins things. Car problems ruin things. Just being flexible also really helps. And just choosing not to let, a flat tire ruin your day. So if you're feeling overwhelmed and stretched thin or unsure what you need next, maybe balance isn't what you need. Maybe living intentionally is. So I'll leave you with this. If you want to comment below or DM us, you are 110% welcome to. If you removed fear, comparison, and expectations, what would you choose on purpose? Because a life built with intention will always feel lighter than a life built with pressure. I do want to add in there, Casey will be back with us next week. Her sister got married this past weekend, so she was going out there being a good sister. I missed her this week, but I will see her this weekend, and she will be back with us next week. And she has some really, really exciting news to share with us. So I hope you guys tune in. Like I said, leave your comments below and let's talk about it. Maybe there's something out there that I missed and I would love to know so I can try to, better myself and just learn new things. So I am open to it. If you guys want to comment, make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next week with Casey. Bye.